Hey guys, it's me Sam and welcome to my weekly catch-up vlog, and I'm looking nowhere near as smart as I did yesterday. Sorry about that. Um, yeah. How you doing? Hope you're all good, and thank you so much for everyone that's been watching my videos over the last week. I hope you've been enjoying them. Okay, so how's my week been? Let's begin with obviously Monday. Or should I begin really with last Sunday? No, I'll discuss that towards the end because obviously Monday I had to go to the job centre and sign on, and nothing exciting to really discuss there. I also popped into Asda, as you all know, because you've seen the Asda haul that I've uploaded. So yes, that's exciting. Non-exciting day, Monday really. Tuesday was a little bit more thrilling because obviously I had my job interview with a company called Lamp and Gear. I think it went all right. I'm not going to say 100% sure, but I don't know. I think it went okay. First of all, I got there 20 minutes too early, but they seemed impressed by that, I think. Well, anyway, I met with the owner of the company. He sat down with me, had a chat about the company, told me what it's like to work there, explained it's a very small company. There's literally two women that work downstairs who I'd work with if I got the job with. There's him upstairs in his office. There's a couple of people in the warehouse, and that's it. So like I said, really small company. You know, he was basically asking me questions about what he found on my CV, asking me why I'd only been at certain places for short periods of time. I haven't put on my CV about my time at Judd Medical. I don't want to even mention the fact that I work there. So I've done a bit of a porcupine. I have made out that I was at Logic until December. It's only a little white lie because they did close down officially in December. They had people still there basically just finishing off when it comes like in regards to the accounts and stuff like that. So it's only a little white lie. He asked me towards the end of the interview, is there anything you would like to ask us? So me being me, I like to be a little bit different. I like to be unique. My question to them was, if I was to get to the job here, would anybody object to me bringing in green smoothies? They found that a different kind of question to what they would normally would get, and I just, well, it's a question I've worked with people before where they have objected to me bringing in green smoothie because they look at it and they think it looks revolting. Obviously, no issues, so that's good. So if I get the job there, then I'll be all right taking in my green smoothie. So yeah, they said that basically they'd had quite a few applications. They'd whittled it down to 8 people, so I was one of 8. They'd already interviewed one other, which would have been the lady that I spoke to at the job centre on Monday. Actually, I didn't tell you that whilst I was at the job centre on Monday. I'm not sure if you remember when I was there the previous Monday, I was asked by Jackie if I would be interested in volunteering to be a receptionist for them, and she stated that they had another lady that was doing the same thing. When I actually got to meet the lady on Monday and we were chatting, and then obviously she overheard me and Jackie talking about the interview, and Jackie actually turned around and said to her, "Oh, that's where you went for an interview, wasn't it, on Friday?" So she gave me lots of tips, heads up on what to expect them to ask me. She was like, make sure your customer service is crazy because they love that. So I have to admit, I did do what she advised me to do. So they'd seen her, they've seen me, obviously had 6 others that they needed to see throughout the week. And then they said they would let me know this Monday coming whether they want me to go back for a second interview. But like a trial morning, they want me to, like, well, if I do get invited back, they'd want me to have a play on a database and see how I get on with it, and then they'll make the decision as to who out of the 3 people they whittle it down to gets the job. Okay, what else have I done this week? Wednesday, I had to go and meet a lovely lady called Cara from DWP. Now, what she does is like, she runs a group where people go and get help with putting CVs together, seeing if there's any way of improving our IT skills, people that have trouble reading and writing. She clearly saw, after being there, 5-10 minutes, that I really didn't require that kind of assistance at all. Once I'd told her what I'd done as jobs previously, she was like, oh, okay. But we had a lovely chat because she was around my daughter's age. And she, I don't know, maybe she saw the mother in me. She confided in me in such a lot of things. She was telling me things to do with a brother who had, or has, should I say, ADHD and other issues going on with him. And he sounded just like my son. So we had a good chat about things to do, about like things that they had in common, things that they'd done, the fact they've both been to prison, and the fact that she doesn't bother with her own brother either because there's just too many issues that can't be reconciled. It was really sweet, and hopefully I've gave her some advice on how to deal with it if she ever has to deal with it again. Um, yeah, but she was a lovely girl, lovely, lovely girl. But yeah, obviously I won't be seeing her again because I don't need to. One of the major issues that I have had this week was because I'm not working and I've claimed job seekers allowance. It's turned out that I should never have claimed job seekers allowance in the first place. I got in touch with the council to find out what was going on with my housing benefit claim. And it turns out I had an outstanding universal credit claim still, and because of that, I was not entitled to housing benefit. This confused my tiny brain very, very slightly, or more than slightly to be perfectly honest. It had me worried sick. So the lady at the council actually got in touch with JSA to see where I stood, and then she got in touch with Universal Credit as well and spoke to them, and she advised me to get in touch with them because it turned out Universal Credit owed me money. She said, just get in touch with them, call them, speak to them, get this sorted. Because if they do owe you money, then you can use that money to pay off the arrears that you've got, and then things will get sorted. So I did. I called up Universal Credits and I'm like, hello, blah, blah. And they were like, yeah, but your claim never actually ever closed. Even when you were working and you're earning so much money that we don't actually pay you anything, we will still keep that claim going. And even though you received a letter in December, because they sent me a letter in December saying that would no longer be paying me, they've still been keeping an eye on what money was coming in and out. They can, I don't know, HMRC, whatever they're called, gets involved and they tell them if there's, well, basically what money I'm earning, and then they decide what they're going to give me. But it turns out they actually owed me money from July. They should have paid me the housing element then, and they didn't. They only paid me the money that I was supposed to get for myself. So they owed me that month's money for the rent. It turned out in November they only paid me around £146 because I'm meant to get 317, but because obviously I'd earned some money in that month, they only paid me the 146, but they didn't pay the housing element on top of that as well. So they owed me that. It turns out because obviously I hadn't worked between, well, they took it from January to February because it's all like in arrears. They owed me not only my housing element, but that month's money as well. So in total, they owed me £838, which they had already put into my bank account before I'd even got off the phone to them. I couldn't believe it. So obviously, before I was rudely interrupted, I now have quite a substantial amount of money in my bank account where I can use that basically to pay off the majority of the arrears that I am in. So luckily, guys, it would appear, because obviously if I'm getting universal credit and not job seekers allowance, not only will I get a little bit more extra money than I was getting anyway, rent sorted. So it looks like the rent arrears and eviction and all that stuff is now resolved, which is a massive, massive weight off my shoulders, believe it or not. It really, really is. I think I sat there for a good 10 minutes crying my eyes out through fire, through relief more than anything. So at least I've got that issue sorted now. Now I'm going to move on to another issue that I've had to deal with this week, and it all began in reality a good couple of weeks ago. Now some of you are going to be a little bit miffed with me for even trying to rebuild my relationship with the ex. Considering what he's done to me in the past, yes, in some ways I am nuts, but I honestly believed that he had changed, that he was a different, well, not a different person, because he'll always be the same person. There's still always going to be trust issues between us as it is, well, me trusting him, should I say. I'd stated that a friend had been helping me out pay the rent and arrears, and that friend was him. Obviously because, and it's been more of a platonic kind of relationship, nothing sexual whatsoever. But when I told him what was going on, you know, I literally broke down in tears in front of him and said, look, I'm in this really bad mess. Unless you can find money to help me, there's nothing you, because he was like, is there anything I can help you with? And I was like, well, unless you can find such and such amount of money, no, there isn't anything you can do. So he offered to, well, the first month he gave me £450, and then last month he gave me £350 to pay the rent and the arrears with. And I was so grateful, so grateful. At first I was like, I don't want to accept this money from him because I know what it's like. He's done this to me before in the past where he's gave me money or he's offered to help me out financially and then he's thrown it in my face saying I'm ungrateful, that I've used him, I'm taking him for a mug, this, that, the other. But this time I actually believed he was being genuine. And basically, like he said to me, stop being stubborn. Everybody needs help now and then. You need my help, let me help you. And I was like, you know, I haven't got the money to be able to give you back at the moment until I get another. And he said, I don't want the money back. And I thought it was really sweet, really kind of him. And I was like, you know, maybe he is changing. Maybe this is a side to him that I've never seen before. So yeah, he's been helping me out. Well, 2 weeks ago, he texted me and he called me Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Not hi, Sam. Hi, Sarah. Hope you're well, blah, 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 blah. Very quickly text me back going, Sam, question mark, Sam, question mark. I don't know why that happened. I have no idea how that happened. Really sorry about that. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Maybe it was just a simple mistake. The next day he texted me again saying that he had found out why that had happened. His friend had been using his phone to text his girlfriend. Now, you know when your gut instinct kicks in and you know that something's just not quite right there? That's what happened. Because my first initial thought was, why is his friend using his phone to text his girlfriend? Not right. It's just not right. Now, as I've already said, our relationship is a platonic one. I'm not interested in having a sexual relationship with him. Whether it's to do with my hormones or going for the menopause or whatnot, I just have no interest in sex. According to him, that makes me a weirdo, but that's just how I am now. And like I said, my gut instinct that kicked in, something just wasn't ringing true with what he'd said. So when he was here on Sunday, he popped in for an hour. He said he was going upstairs to Jessica's room to say hello to the cat because the cat goes to sleep in her bed. Truth of the matter was, he was actually going up to Jessica's bedroom to put a £10 note in there because obviously he'd borrowed it from her and he was putting it back. Whilst he was upstairs, and this is something he never does, he never lets his phone out of his sight. He's very possessive of his phone, and I've never been allowed to look at his phone. In his opinion, it's an invasion of his privacy. Well, anyway, he left his phone on the kitchen side. So guess what I did? Yep, I took the opportunity to have a look at his phone. And I looked at messages. And I found messages from someone called Sarah. So, of course, that started off alarm bells in my head. And I'm thinking, what's going on there? So I clicked on her name and clicked on the messages, and I'm reading through them, and they were very sexually explicit. Very. Him describing to her what he's going to do to her, and her describing to him what she's going to do to him. And there were some things that he'd said to her that once upon a time in the past he would have asked me to perform in the bedroom department. There was too much coincidence going on, to get my drift. Instead of erupting at him there and then, I chose to bite my lip and to have a good think about it rationally. You know, maybe this is a mistake, maybe I didn't imagine it. I know what I saw and I know what I read. By Wednesday, I'd made a decision. I'm going to come clean to him. I'm going to confess to him that I looked at his phone, and then I'm going to ask him if he's got anything he needs to confess to me. To which he said he hadn't. And then I told him what I'd seen. He then proceeded to tell me that these messages were between his friend and his girlfriend. His friend does not own a phone of his own. Who in this day and age doesn't own a mobile phone? Now, apparently the excuse for that is apparently this friend of his has been in a bit of a financial pickle over the years, and he's had to move in with his dad. And one of the rules that he has to stick to stay living at his dad's is that he's not allowed to have a phone. Okay, all right, Stewart. So apparently he allows his friend to use his phone to text his so-called girlfriend sexually explicit messages. But then I put it to the ex. Well, there were things in those messages that were very similar to things that you'd asked me to do for you in the past. Oh, it's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. Yeah, but in one of the messages, she called you by your name. Not your friend's name, your name. You read wrong. It became very verbally abusive. He started threatening me. He demanded back the money that he'd given me for the rent and the arrears. Now, I don't care how you get it, you're going to get me that money. You're an ungrateful bitch. You've mugged me off. You've used me. You got what you wanted from me, and now you're just finding an excuse to get rid of me. Throughout all this, I managed to keep myself calm, which is sometimes quite difficult for me to do because I'm a little Rottweiler, really. I am. I'm a little Jack Russell inside a Rottweiler's body, or something like that. Well, anyway, I don't normally stand for shit, let's just put it that way. But I didn't. I kept calm. I didn't react. I didn't shout back. The only time I did shout back is when he said, if I'm not going to get the money out of you, I'm going to get it out of Jessica, which is our daughter. That made me very, very angry. But yes, he would not admit to it. I mean, I was like, look, you know, I'm just asking you to be honest with me. If you are, or if you have been sleeping with someone, in some ways I can understand that, because I don't want that kind of relationship with you. You know, this is me trying to be rational with him and give him the opportunity to come clean, but he just wouldn't do so. He was absolutely adamant. It was his friend that had used the phone. It was his friend that had been sending these messages. It was his girlfriend. And I asked him, is there a way that maybe I could speak to your friends and ask him if he has been using your phone to send those messages to his girlfriend? The answer was no. And I was like, okay, then maybe I could contact Sarah and ask her. You know, maybe she should have a right to know that her messages have been going to your phone and not Chrissy's. Things got very, very verbally abusive anyway, and like I said to him, you're acting in a way that's making me think, in fact, no, you're convincing me that you are guilty. And you're acting like this because you've been caught out. You're acting in typical Stewart fashion, basically. Because that's what he does when he's been caught out about things. He'll shout, scream, throw things around, smash the house up, smash me up. Yeah, nice person. The next day, he sent me a screenshot that he had taken off his mobile, and apparently it was a message that his friend had sent to him via Facebook saying, really sorry that I've caused all this. Didn't mean to. Women, eh? I hope you didn't read any of those messages. Can't believe I didn't delete them. But there's something about that screenshot that doesn't look right, because he never responded back to his friends. He stated, I mean, this message was sent to him about 8 o'clock in the evening, and he stated that he didn't even know that his friend had sent him this message. This is Stewart, who is permanently looking at his phone. You know, any time that he's been here to come and see me, he's normally looking at his phone instead of talking to me. He never talks about himself. He never tells me what he's been doing or what he's getting up to or anything that's going on in his personal life. It's always me that has to do the talking, which is stupid, really, because to me, he's a narcissist. And I know how narcissists work. I've done enough research into narcissism to basically understand what goes on there. And I thought I'd got it down to a T, and obviously, no, I was wrong there, because I let my guard down in the first place to be able to convince myself that I could trust him and believe him and believe that he'd changed, which clearly he hasn't. I've spoken to some of my friends. I even joined a forum and asked for advice on there, and everyone that I have told has said the same thing. He's lying to you. He's been caught out, and now he's trying to wiggle himself out of it. He's going to convince you it's all in your head. You're the one that's in the wrong, which is exactly what he's been doing. It's not his fault. It's not his friend's fault. It's my fault for looking at his phone. I had no right to looking at his phone. But Stuart's very good at contradicting himself. And on Friday, there was text messages going backwards and forwards, and it said to me if I'd asked to look at his phone, there wouldn't have been a problem. Well, there would have been a problem, because then I would have seen those messages. But his response was, yes, but I would have been able to explain to you there and then what the messages were about. No, he just would have come out with the same cock and bull story. He's also dragged Jessica into it, which I didn't want to do. I don't involve the kids in our arguments. It's just not normal. It's not right. Jess is an adult. She's got her own life. She's got her own issues to be dealing with. The last thing she needs to know is what's going on between her parents. But somehow he's been able to convince her that I'm a bitch. That I'm a bitch for looking at his phone in the first place. That I'm not trustworthy. And she even said it herself. You've made me feel like I can't leave my phone anywhere near you in case you look at it. I'm going to change the lock on the number on my phone so you can't look at it. I wouldn't look at your phone. I'm not like that. And what you do in your personal life is your business, not mine. It's caused a lot of friction. Not only that, he also, despite me asking him not to, he's also told Jessica about the mess I've got into in regards to the rent and the arrears. I specifically said to him, I do not need Jess to know about this. We're going to get it under control. The eviction can't go any further because I've agreed to pay a certain amount each week. Once the housing benefit or whatever comes through, then it will get sorted so they can't take me to court. And if they do take me to court and the magistrate sees that, I've been sticking to paying a certain amount, and they only tend to evict people who literally do take the piss and never pay rent. So some kind of order would have been put on it, and as long as I stuck to the agreement that I agreed to, then there was no way the eviction could go further. So as far as I'm concerned, she didn't need to know. But he went and told her anyway, and she went mad at me about that. It's control. That's what it is. It's control. And somebody said to me, he didn't give you that money to help you. He gave you that money to put into your head that you need him. And if you start thinking that you need him, then he can wiggle his way back in, and then he's got control. Which is true. It is true. That is in a way what has happened. So until I can get another job and I'm financially able to pay him that money back, and my God, so I will pay him every single damn penny back. He's got that control over me. But it doesn't excuse what I saw on his phone. Apparently I'm paranoid. It's all in my imagination. Apparently everyone that he's spoken to about it, which his mum and his dad, which I doubt. Just got a feeling I doubt. And if he has, it won't be the full story. Oh, and his friend and another friend. They've all said the same thing. I'm a weirdo, I'm a bitch, I'm a paranoid, I'm this, I'm that, the other. And when you heard the phone ring, that was him again, going off on one, telling me that I've taken him for a mug once again, that I've used him, this, that, the other. And I'm like, that's not the case. I'd actually started warming towards you. I'd actually started seeing another side to you until you made the mistake of calling me another name in a text. If you hadn't raised my suspicions in the first place. But he still doesn't seem to get where I'm coming from. He doesn't seem to grasp that it was him that raised my suspicions in the first place. I'm the big bad wolf. I'm the bad person because I chose to look at his phone. I admit I did wrong. I shouldn't have looked at his phone. And at least I had the honest decency in me to come clean to him and tell him what I'd done. It made me feel guilty. That's why I made the decision, look, I need to talk to him. I need to tell him what I've done and then tell him what I've seen. And it's causing a lot of stress that doesn't need to be there in my life. I don't need this. I really don't. The way I see it, if you're sleeping with someone else, good luck to them. That's all I'm going to say. Now, somebody had pointed out to me as well on this forum that I went on to speak to and get advice. And they're right, because obviously I've looked into narcissism, I know how it works. They kind of like, oh, it's chucking down with rain. Sorry about that. I'm completely begotten by the weather. Basically, he sees me as being a security blanket. So if things don't work out with this other woman, then he thinks he can just fall back onto me. For months and months and months, he's been trying to get me to allow him to move back in or to stay overnight. And I'm like, no, because I don't want that kind of relationship and I don't want you moving back in. If you cannot see for yourself, with your own eyes, just how much I've changed in myself, physically and mentally, how much I've improved since you moved out and allowed me to get better and allowed me to get on with my life, then you're blind. You're completely blind. And if you honestly think moving back in is going to make things better between ourselves when things were so bad, you're completely deluded, in my opinion. So basically, he's told me straight that I've got till tomorrow to decide as to what I want to do with our relationship. I need to have a good think about all the things that he's done for me over the years. Really? For those of you that don't know about my relationship, a lot of people that have been watching me for a long time do know about our relationship. He was very physically abusive towards me, emotionally abusive towards me, mentally abusive towards me. I was proper messed up in the head. I used to self-harm quite badly. I got to the point where I was very suicidal and I came very close to taking my own life at one point. And if it hadn't been, I don't know what it was, someone slapped me around the face and said, think about the kids, think about what that would do to them. And you are so much better than him. You don't need to do this. That's when I decided to get a backbone and I started standing up to him. One of the reasons why we split up in the first place was because I actually suspected him of having an affair back then. Things got really bad. I actually moved into the back bedroom, which used to be my son's room. I refused to sleep in the same bed as him. I refused to have anything to do with him full stop. And then he moved out because his family had said to him, look, leave her. His family have always been there in the background, sticking up for him, allowing him to play his little victim card and to get away with what he's done to me over the years. There have been times over the years where we've gone visiting and I can see clearly I've got a black eye or bruising to my face or my neck or whatever, and nothing's been said. I don't care. I remember one time we were there for Sunday dinner and his sister, she was going about physical abuse and this, that and the other, and she actually stated that there are some women out there that deserve it. Clearly getting at me. Yeah. So, my question to you guys, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but if you do, maybe you can let me know down below. What would you think if you see messages like that on your supposedly other half's phone? Would you believe him? Do you think he's lying? Is he taking me for a mug? I'm never going to be able to trust him. Even now, I know what I saw. I know what I read. Why would this girl's phone number be saved in his phone? I mean, he says his friend must have done it. But what right has his friend got to do that? It's not his phone, he's just borrowing it to text said girlfriend. I don't know. Even if I do decide, okay, maybe this is all just a massive coincidence and I have got it all wrong, I don't think things are ever going to change between me and him. And I don't want it to. To get told you're a freak, you're a weirdo, you're not normal, because I don't have interest in sex. Is that normal? Of yours what I have to do? I don't know, because we were together for over 20 years, since the age of 17. I've never had another relationship with anybody else. So, I don't know. Is this normal? So, that basically concludes my weekly catch-up, guys. So, sorry about this. Just when I thought things were going to get better, I get rid of one problem and then this is basically taken over. But I'm not going to let it get to me. I'm not going to get down over it because it's not worth it. If he can't be honest to tell me the truth or to come clean, and if he's going to stick with his bullshit story, you know, whether it's true or not, I don't know. As always, guys, please do leave your comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on this issue of mine. I would love to see it. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on this. You know, if there's any advice you'd like to give me, I would really appreciate it. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And that's it for today. Obviously, I've done my weekend Asda haul, which is uploaded now. I've still got my Poundland Superdrug and Body Care shopping haul to upload as well for you all to watch. So this will probably get uploaded on Monday, so you'll get to watch it then, even though today's Sunday. Like I said, guys, give me your thoughts. I just like to maybe get some more input from what others might think. And that's it, really. So I'd say enjoy the rest of the weekend. But the weather out there is like, it's bad. Really bad rain. So, yeah. I'm off to the job centre again tomorrow, where I get the great pleasure of saying hello to Jackie, who's my job seekers advisor, and goodbye to Jackie. And from now on, I get to see the lovely Tracy, who I used to see before when I was getting universal credit. I like Tracy. I like her a lot. So, yeah. Oh, and I've got Jess off work tomorrow as well. Yes, I forgot. Happy Mother's Day to all you mums out there. Yes, my Mother's Day has been completely and fully ruined. Typical. Absolutely typical. Right, I've done enough waffling. I'm going to let you be. Take care of yourselves. And I'm going to go now because I really need the toilet. And if I don't go soon, there's going to be a puddle on the floor. We don't want that now, do we? No. See you soon. Till then. Bye for now.